Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome to Season 12 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge on Apex Racing TV. We're the best virtual GTP, LMP2, and GT3 racers in the world, and Bobby Childs to battle. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the announce booth, as always, is Larry Lefty McLeod with Jonathan Grabowski working behind the scenes, giving you all the best views of tonight's 75-minute run to the checkered flag. And for round number 6, we descend upon the Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari, better known as Imola, located centrally between St. Agata, the home of Lamborghini, and Maranello, of course, the home of Ferrari. And this 3-mile, 19-turn circuit saw its first action in 1953, initially hosting motorcycles, and then Formula One with its first ever non-championship F1 event, won in 1963 by Jim Clark. Since then, it's played host to the Italian Grand Prix, the San Marino Grand Prix, and in 2020, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It's played host to some of the grandest victories in the sport and, unfortunately, some of its greatest tragedies. And tonight, it plays host to the World Challenge. And so, good evening, Larry, and welcome to the ancestral homes of prancing horses and charging bulls. And, speaking of bulls, being here could only mean one thing, and that's a dominating night by Bobby Childs.
But of course, I wouldn't expect anything less. It's Bobby and his teammate. We know 2 weeks ago, I think they even started on the front row. Anything is possible. As right now, Bobby's teammate Bailey's got that provisional pole. But yes, we are here at Imola. Really difficult track. One of the most difficult ones, in my opinion, to really master the pace on. so many places for off tracks, so many big tall curbs, so many downhill break-in zones. It seems to have them all. And I just ordered a pizza, so let's get this thing going.
Yeah, let's get all the Italian we can get in just one night. And I was going to say, Larry, that in watching the first few moments of qualifying before we went on the air, and certainly the practice leading up to our broadcast, many of our racers were having troubles, and it was few and far between where we saw a complete flying lap, just as we saw one of our, I think that was Mike Dam actually, having some challenges there with some of the sausage curbs at Imola. As our drivers now about 9 minutes into qualifying, and of course should mention that Mike Dam from Orion Racing scheduled to be our pre-race guest tonight, but as we are underway here with qualifying, where we give our drivers 4 opportunities to set their fastest laps and set the grid for tonight's race. And as I mentioned at the open, we've got 3 different classes. We've got LMP2, we've got GTP, and we've got GT3. If we want to take a look so we can pick out the difference between our GTP and LMP2 cars, we've got John Sterling, I believe, they're in the number 267 Cadillac, the Eagle Beavers machine. All of our GTP cars, they'll have black number boards on the sides, black windshield banners, mirrors, and end plates on their wings. Our LMP2 cars, like Avon Dorsey here in the number 7 Dallara, they will have the blue number boards, windshield banners, mirrors, yada, yada, yada. And of course, our GT3 racers, well, they don't look like a prototype car. There's Robert Hartley from Orion Racing, and the GT3 cars, they'll have the red number boards on the sides of their cars, mirrors, windshield banners, etc. All right, and so Larry, as if like clockwork, coming down into the green room now, I hope we have a song for him to sing. Let's bring in Mike Dam from Orion Racing, currently sitting 4th in the championship, but only a mere 9 points behind his teammate, Akira Iwata, who currently leads.
All right, Mike Dam, you probably just heard that we're talking about the point standings. We're here at Imola. Let's start with Imola. Mike, what's it gonna take to get a win here? I think you've had a string of seconds in this season. This is a tough track. What's the secret tonight?
Stay within track limits.
It seems to be the challenge here, isn't it? They're just sort of everywhere, and if it's not a track limit, it's one of those nasty sausage curves, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a wonder I got through quali the way I did. Those are probably my first 4 actual clean laps this week. So,
well, apparently they weren't so bad, because right now you're on provisional pole there, just ahead of a couple of teammates there, of course, with Edwards and Tragoda, and even Mr. Hartley making an appearance here tonight in the front 2 rows. But you've been battling with these teammates right now in the standings. It is an Orion 1 through 4, and it is really close. What's it like? Are you guys starting to actually get a little competitive among the team? Are you still sharing setups, sharing secrets, or is it a little more free for all at this point?
For sure, we're working together. I don't know if I give all my secrets away, but it is competitive too. It's really good within the team. But yeah, I definitely want to win. But I'm also not going to do something that's going to, ruin a teammate's race,
Sure. Yeah, you want to win, but win fairly. And certainly
Absolutely.
with teammates and probably with everybody. But this track, I've run my share of races here. I don't think this is the easiest place to pass, except maybe into turn 1. Is that sort of your impression as well? Certainly in GT cars, is it like that?
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be really about not making mistakes, because it's definitely going to be hard to pass anybody without them really messing up. But that's why you ride their bumper, right? Make them loser cool, get them deep in the brake zones. That's how you got to do it.
Yeah, and then how do the prototypes play into this? Obviously, I'm sure you've done tons of races and a lot of practice around here, but what's it going to be like for 75 minutes if you're trying to win your race, but you've got these aggressive prototypes trying to squeeze by in their own race? How do you communicate to them that it's not their turn to pass?
Yeah, I mean, doing a lot of endurance racing and officials and stuff, you just learn how to, I don't know, you learn how to be defensive, and you learn to keep eyes on the back of your head. Kind of. I know it's hard to do, but like, I try to be ready for all situations. I know like it's not easy in itself, but yeah, I'm hoping obviously the guy behind me is gonna make the move I hope he makes, but I got to be ready for something different, right?
Yeah.
It's all just gonna be it's gonna be just working together and trying to find the fastest way around the track together.
Yeah, for sure. That's it's going to be an interesting night tonight. I think certainly. I don't think Akira is here tonight. I think it's just the rest of the Orion team is here, and so is that maybe an opportunity because he's had a lot of speed, but it seems that Taj Edwards has also been pretty darn quick this season. Is that what you guys expected from him as he joined the team?
Yeah, he's really quick. Been putting in the practice. As you can see, Rob's quick this week. He must have gotten some good practice in. So they're all fast guys when they want to be. We all have our up and down weeks as well, but this is really tight here, so it could be anybody's game, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. We only got a couple seconds left to give you a chance to get any shout outs, thank yous, trash talking you want to get off your chest. Any songs you want to sing?
Songs?
Yeah, just push me. Don't pass. No, yeah, just all my teammates are great, and it's been a great season. Looking forward to it.
All right, Mike. Well, good luck tonight. Looks like you should be starting from pole. We'll see how that works out for you 75 minutes down the road. So good luck.
Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody, there you go. That was Mike Dam from Orion Racing, driver of the number 93 Acura Integra GT3 car and tonight's GT3 pole sitter. All right, Larry, we got our drivers starting to grid up, and so I'm going to make things difficult for you again tonight. I'm going to take the prototype cars, and well, you can deal with Mike and his merry band of GT3 drivers. All right, starting on pole tonight in GTP from Invictus, Temerario Corsa. Was that close, Larry?
Perfect, yeah, just perfect.
Perfect, okay. Bailey Petrowski with Tanner Dibble from DNA Motorsports starting to his right. Then on row number 2, we've got Ben Rose, also from DNA, with Rockefeller Racing's Charlie Hosea starting in 4th. Starting in 5th, DNA Motorsports' Ryan Reisman with Eagle Beavers, John Sterling. And so it's Ferrari Porsche front row, Acura Ferrari second row, Acura Cadillac third row, and then let us not forget Bobby Childs. He's going to be starting 7th tonight in his Ferrari. All right, let's move over to LMP2, where all of our racers are in this Spec Dallara chassis. Carson Cushman, who was our winner 2 weeks ago at Le Mans, he will be your pole sitter for the evening. Then we've got Rockefeller Racing's Avon Darcy will start on his right, with Josh Chinsky from SRT Esports starting in 3rd. His teammate Caleb Lehman will start 4th. Then starting 5th, it is Trevor Anderson from HSR Phantom Racing. And then finally starting 6th in LMP2, it's Kyle Strikers from SRT Esports.
All right, in the GT3 ranks on the pole tonight, well, we just talked to the Flying Canadian himself. It's Mike Dam representing the Orion race team, and I'll get used to hearing that. On Mike's outside is going to be Taj Edwards, his teammate. On the second row, it's, again, a couple more Orions. This time it's going to be Leo Dragotta on the inside, and Robert Hartley. Haven't heard a lot out of him this season. Maybe tonight's his night. He'll be in the outside of row 2. Row 3 on the inside is going to be Sector 5 Racing Brian Bennett alongside Travis Schwenke, yet another Orion driver. On the third row, it's going to be, make the fourth row, Ilya Speaker on the inside and Rockefeller Racing, and a teammate there, Stacy Bertrand, will be on the outside. Behind them, another Rockefeller Racing, Keith Stein on the inside, and then Jeff Jacobs, SCCA Foundation, on the outside. Back on row 6, it's going to be Radburn Shooters from the Eagle Beavers team, and on the outside, it'll be Chris Thorman from Invictus Temerario Corsa. It'll be the Invictus teammate on the inside of row 7, David Payton, alongside an Eagle Beaver of Alexander Brown. Then behind them, SimCity Racing, Zach Mosley and Filippo Barbarieri from Speed Lab Dream to Inspire. Next row back, Lucas Dragotta from Dragonsport Racing and Adam Ballard from Rockefeller Racing GT3. And then we've got another Speed Lab entry, Andre Wedderburn alongside Chad Saban from Close Enough Crew. We got Dan Carrito, Saints and Sinners, and Jimbo Pfeiffer at Sector 5 Racing. And then we have Marlon Jones from Lead Paw Racing alongside Russ Ruddick of Flying Motorsports, Chuck Labano, Neil Weston, John Casey, and Greg Brockway rounding out the field.
All right, perfect timing, Larry, as the pace car heads to the pit lane, turning things over to our pole sitter, Bailey Petrowski. They're going to come around the final bend here, turn 19 onto the front straight. And, of course, our real live starter will give that start command here as they come to the starter stand. And green flag is in the air, Larry, and we are racing here at Imola. Got a little mixed up there as Petrowski jumps out to an early lead over Tanner Dibble. Ben Rose slots behind just ahead of Charlie Jose with Ryan Reisman and John Sterling. Bobby Child slotting in behind as they come into the Variante Tamborello, into the first chicanes here. Our LMP2 racers just behind. Carson Cushman, Josh Chinsky, Avon Dorsey taking the start as well. Trevor Anderson with Caleb Lehman running 4th and 5th as our GT3 racers, now led by Mike Dam, take the green flag, and we are underway as well for our third class as they now start to make their way down towards the first chicane into Tamborello. They make that quick left hand then right hand turn, and going off, getting together, it is Brian Bennett in the Mercedes and it is Taj Edwards as they both go to the gravel, get back underway. And Bennett's going to drop all the way down to 21st position. Taj Edwards now is just now recovering. He is dead last, 28th in the field, Larry.
That's huge for an opening lap. Bennett's in between a couple of near front row drivers. So we'll check on that. I want to keep an eye on the prototypes, though, because they've had updated tire models, I think, since the last race.
Right.
And there's going to be a lot of cold tires, specifically on these. These GTPs are just deadly on cold tires. So we'll see if they've done it. So far, so good. Fingers crossed things stay that way here in the prototypes, both the GTPs and the LMP2s on opening lap.
All right, and it looks like Avon Dorsey had an issue in the prototype field as well. Let's take a look and see what happened to the Rockefeller Racing driver. And you said that the GTP cars have this updated tire model, the LMP2 cars as well, and this is exactly what we were going to be looking to see happen, that a lot of snap oversteer from racers possible in the first couple of laps.
Yeah, well, let's catch a replay then of our opening incident on the GT3s. There's Bennett on the inside, just gets into the back of Taj through that turn one. I couldn't quite tell if Edwards was kind of holding his line, or if Bennett perhaps slid a little bit deep, but that contact's going to hurt both of their chances, and certainly Edwards now at the back of the field.
All right, so Bailey Petrowski is, as he's got heat coming up in the tires in the GTP field, he's managed now to open up almost a second and a half on Tanner Dibble. And in LMP2, things are a lot closer, Larry, with Carson Cushman and Josh Chinsky right at the front of the field as they're both coming up to the back of the Bobby Childs GTP Ferrari.
Well, I'm sure Bobby's getting to grips with his lack of grip here, but let's catch one more replay here. This time it's Reisman. You can see him there in his DNA Motorsports GTP. A little slow to get in, but it's not Reisman that's the issue. It's the Eagle Beaver behind him that, unfortunately, the cold tires locked up all the way down that downhill braking. Yeah,
John Sterling there in the Eagle Beaver's Cadillac, the 267 machine, just locked up the fronts and went right into the side of that machine and causing them both to drop back considerably. Sterling now sitting almost behind the majority of the LMP2 field at this point as we go back to live action over to our GT3 racers as we are now watching Dan Carrito, Jimbo Pfeiffer, Brian Bennett as well. So we've got Bennett there in the Mercedes trying to make a recovery. He has made up a couple positions already as he's up to 15th position.
He's got that teammate there, Pfeiffer, right in front of him. I'm sure Jimbo won't hold up Brian too much, but Brian's probably still settling his anger down just a little bit from anytime you get an opening lap, 75-minute race issue. He had a lot of time to sit there and mull it over and think about it, but I'm sure he'll get by Jimbo here very quickly and start making his way towards Dan Carrito in the Acura in front of them.
All right, and as they make it out of Hrvatska and onto the front straight, now to complete lap number 2 here for the GT3 cars. And as our GTP traffic, or GTP racers almost ready to complete their 3rd lap here. And as we look back, this is from the back of Keith Stein's Corvette with Jeff Jacobs in one of the few Mustangs in the field, very close behind. We got Jeff Jacobs, Zach Mosley, as well as Russ Ruddick, all running the Mustangs this season. And there's Zach Mosley and one of the other Mustangs. As he's given Alex Brown in the Eagle Beavers Corvette a little to contend with.
Yeah, but again, we talked about in the interview with Mike Dam how difficult this place is to pass in these GT3 cars. It's fast, it's technical, but there aren't a lot of places for high-speed variation from fast to slow or vice versa, and I think that makes it difficult, except for turn 1. So sometimes you get a lot of this. We're on board with Mosley, looking at the back of that Corvette of the Canadian Alex Brown, and unless you can motor on that front straightaway and get a great run off the last couple of 90s, it's tough to make a pass. And you can see the train now forming with Thorman, and I think that's Lucas Dragotta, the 4th in this train. Yeah,
indeed. I mean, certainly in opportunities you go down to Tosa into the hairpin, turn 7, but I mean, we already saw how that can go very wrong just a few moments ago there with the GTP racers.
Yeah, it does not take much to create chaos at a track like this. But let's see if the Mustang, with a wonderful sound of Zach Mosley's car, can motor past a pretty good sounding Corvette here on the front straight. You can see he's getting closer, maybe it's a hint of draft here at these speeds at 145, 155 miles an hour, but not enough as they go through that Temporello chicane.
All right, let's jump, Larry, out to the front of our GT3 field where Mike Dam, our pre-race interview guest in the number 93 Orion Acura, is there working with his teammate Leo Dragotta. Dragotta started off in 4th, and he has now made his way up. And you know, interesting here, although we of course lost Taj Edwards down to the back of the field, it is currently a top 4 for Orion with Dam, Dragotta, Hartley, and Travis Schwenke all in those Acuras. And the Acuras have received some balance of performance adjustments over the course of the season, but they have been just absolutely dominant so far this season.
Yeah, I actually went and bought this car myself for a couple of private leagues, and I like it on certain tracks. I actually struggle in some of the longer sustained corners, but a track where you could do a lot of high speed, maybe 90 or more open corners, the Acura does very well. And I think this plays a lot of chicane, so it's a lot of transition. I think it could do well, but seems to be doing well throughout our whole season with that Orion team running it, and it's in pretty good hands with that group as we flash to our LMP2 field here. Watching Caleb Lehman there in the 819 leading Avon Dorsey and Kyle Strikers.
Yeah, and you can see there, even just popping over the curb there, Larry, how much of a rise there is on the curbing and how they could really upset these very low slung cars, even if you stayed off the sausage curbs.
Yeah, the curbs there at that chicane in particular, the Variante Alta, it's just the most difficult, probably to me the most difficult chicane I've found yet on the whole iRacing platform.
On service,
yeah, the curbs will just destroy you if you hit them wrong, and it's so difficult to get the right exit because the run down to Hrvatska is pretty long. At least you got to get a good run there to defend a position. Right. And that chicane, to do that chicane, let's say whatever we're going to end up with tonight, roughly 60 laps or 50 some laps around this place, 50 times is tough to do it every time correctly.
Exactly. Oh, we're seeing a lot of smoke in the air there, and I'm looking to see. Yeah, it looks like we had Andre Wedderburn have a bit of a moment just ahead of these two racers, and there he is in his McLaren, and there he goes to the pit lane.
Did not end well for him.
All right, and we are getting word here. John Sterling is picking up a penalty. think based on that incident that we saw early on, Larry, and he'll have a drive-through that will...
yeah, no surprise there.
Yeah, knock him... Well, probably won't affect him. Likely still keep him in 6th, of course, as Ryan Reisman is still resigned. Looks like running at least a lap and a half down.
Well, your leader in P2 here, Carson Cushman, I believe won the last round 2 weeks ago. In fact, at Le Mans, he's got the lead here early and already making his way through this GT3 traffic as he's just gone past the Corvette and now across the timing stripe to start another lap. Right behind him, though, is Josh Chinsky, trying to keep pace and trying to get through the traffic as efficiently as Cushman is. That was Greg Brockway and Chad Sebring in the Corvette and Porsche that they just went by. And this always hurts your yelling P2 car when you come up on a GT car through a chicane like that. You just have to wait. It hurts your exit speed, but it's the only way to play this game. You got to remember 75 minutes. It's a long race. You're not going to win in every corner. You just got to do what you can each one as they continue to roll through traffic.
So, Larry, we may want to go back to see a very interesting call just came over the radio from Race Control concerning Andre Wedderburn. Just assigned a penalty, and it sounds like a 30-second hold penalty for an incident involving 2 other cars. So we'll see if John
likely
can pick that up.
That's probably what we saw the tail of when we saw him take the tow, but maybe now we'll catch the entire incident, as that may still be that tail of it. Maybe we'll go, wow, as he's across the middle of the track. We may have to
we'll see if we can back up a little further in that sequence there.
So there's clearly something had happened even to start all this, and then he gets touched by one of the Rockefeller cars. But that seemed to be after the initial incident started, just before they got
and then he got plowed, I think, by Filippo Barberi, his teammate.
Yeah. One more look at it. We're trying to back it up just a little bit. Here we go. That's where it starts.
Here we go. And notice they're going off and exiting stage left and actually almost ending up in Maranello was David Payton in the number 64 machine.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of contact all over that. And I think it started with the contact, perhaps like you say, with Payton.
Yeah.
And then it just goes from there into chaos. So far, it's Wedderburn having a 30-second hold, but Wedderburn's been in the pits already for 3 or 4 minutes. I don't think any penalties can change his night.
Yeah, and it looked like Barberi had been in the pits for quite some time as well. I believe he is back underway now.
That incident, or the end of that incident, looked a little bit like one I was just in a public race a little bit ago, where someone decided to just drive me off the track after something else. So I know how that feels.
Right, let's see if we can take another look at this.
So this is coming out of Tosa toward Paratella. And Wedderburn's going to be the second of the green card, dive into the inside, and there you go.
He clears out Payton there, and then there's Barberi, looks like rejoining.
Yeah.
As Barberi had managed to stay clear of incident number 1 and then got caught up with his teammate a little bit further on in the sequence, as did a number of other cars.
Catch up with overall race leader Bailey Petrowski. We don't know how many incidents he's collected, but he's usually pretty precise. We'll be curious if any of these drivers are driving a little extra conservatively to try and stay off of the 1Xs out here. But Bailey pretty quick, just turned fastest lap of the race at a 1:30.4, which I believe is like a second or so faster than anybody else's personal fastest lap.
It is. It's almost a second and a half faster than Tanner Dibble has run so far.
Yeah, Bailey just cruising at this point so far, but only to about a 2.5 second lead as he was a little slow there. That was Barberi, perhaps, that he just went around one of those. But yeah, he's got the lead, but he he is fast, but he can't quite relax. It's actually Tanner Dibble just took fastest lap of the race.
Yeah.
No, almost his personal fastest at a 30.4, was able to close the gap by about a second again. So now we're at 2.3, separating Billy Petrowski, Tanner Dibble. Oh,
and
more issues
Taj
for Taj
Edwards. Yeah, as we track him off course, we'll take a look in a moment and see exactly what happened to him. He comes down in with Rockefeller Racer, and does he just run a little, well, not just a little wide?
That's a little bit with the Rockefeller car, maybe sliding and then kind of taking an awkward turn back on track. I don't know that there's going to be anything to assign any kind of blame on that one. We'll have to wait and see if the stewards do any. Jeff Jacobs looks like he's into the pits, probably not scheduled.
And I think that was Adam Ballard that we saw Taj Edwards get together with from Rockefeller Racing.
And that's just tough for Taj. You know, we saw the opening lap incident with he and Brian Bennett coming together in that first chicane, and now this. Taj just having a rough go here while his teammates are still out in front. Like, damn, there's a good shot of him with the orange trim and then the red trim, Orion, Leo Dragotta, literally right behind.
All right, so with Jacobs coming in, yeah, certainly very early, and with outside of the pit window as he pitted in at the end of lap probably at the end of lap number 8. And it was not a long pit stop. He was in his pit box for about 35 seconds, and I'm sure he was probably just didn't fill the fuel enough, Larry, because the pit window for the GT3 cars isn't scheduled to open until about lap 17.
Okay. Yeah, that would be a potential there. He maybe didn't change the fuel level between qualifying and race, and 15 minutes in, car was low on fuel, and off he goes. Otherwise, he's going to have to really sip the fuel well for the next hour. It's a tall order. A couple of Rockefeller teammates here. Keith Stein in that Corvette, right behind Stacy Bertrand in the Mustang. A couple of Americas here at the Italian track.
That's right. I left one when I was running down the list of the Mustang drivers. I left one off the list.
Yeah.
I've got
so a couple of American
Stacy.
brands.
She's driving for Rockefeller.
American brands with American Stacy Bertrand and the Canadian Keith Stein. As Carson Cushman in that LMP2 is going to try and get by the two of them here. Good work there for Cushman to do that. Put a couple of those GT3s in between himself and his rival there, who's still struggling to get between them there at the Hairpin Tosa. Yeah. I like this track. I like the way this track flows. I could lap this track for days. It's just one of those interesting tracks to me.
Yeah, a lot of challenge. Basically, allows the car to stretch its legs. Doesn't necessarily allow you it doesn't allow you to get complacent though. Some of these different complexes, like right here coming up on over at Villeneuve, come up on you so quickly.
It's one of those tracks that in real life, if I start to put together a bucket list of track things to do, would be to rent a Ferrari and have a track day just to drive around this beautiful city, which this track is in the middle of the village. And just to drive this track up and down these hills, I would just be in my glory. This is.
And by the way, that wasn't Villeneuve. That was coming out of Piriton.
Yep.
All right. And we see there in the shot Brian Bennett looking to dispatch Lucas Dragotta. And I did mention that all of our GT3 racers, they've got the red number boards. You'll notice that there are a number of them here with green number boards and windshield banners, as the organizers do distinguish between the pro drivers and the AM drivers. And for purposes of the race and the timing and scoring on the left-hand side, you're going to see everybody grouped together in pro. And I know it's been asked before, unfortunately, our timing and scoring screens for Larry and I also do not make that distinction between
our brain bandwidth hits limits at some point.
Exactly.
But for the purpose, we try to when we can maybe highlight who we think is in the lead. And actually, it might be Lucas Dragotta. The points leader is Dan Carrito coming in the AM class. I think in the standing right now, though, in this race, it is Lucas Dragotta. is the
I
front
believe
of
you're
the
right.
field. If that's wrong, I'll try and make up for that. That's Ava and Dorsey trying to get through some traffic there. Having just run the Sebring 12-hour of iRacing last weekend, in one of those LMP2 cars, I feel the pain of what it's like being the middle child, where you're faster than the GT3s, but then you got to keep an eye out for those GTPs coming up behind you. And this track is a lot busier than Sebring, if you ask me. Certainly a little tighter in places.
Yeah, very much tighter in a lot of places.
And it's just a little bit more elevation change, just a bit than Sebring.
Yeah, I mean, it's got more than that foot or so over turn
My
13.
basement floor, I think, has more elevation change than Sebring. Certainly, Imola has a lot. Look at this. Pfeiffer on the inside now with Carrito and the Acura on the outside, who's going to get the advantage at the exit of that chicane. Head down towards Villeneuve.
Yeah, and not only
that is contact.
That was Radburn shutters, and I was just going to say, Larry, that it appears those shutters was going to take advantage of what Dan Carrito had the movie had put on Adam Ballard and was able to pull through. And unfortunately, the Eagle Beavers Corvette driver getting together there with the Ferrari. Let's take a look.
I think he tries to get inside of Pfeiffer here, and
yes.
Oh, it's a little bit of oscillation. He's back and forth. Yep. He saw the GTP car on his left and maybe just kind of overreacted back. That's unfortunate for shooters. I think he may have been the one that caused a little bit. That's a lot of damage.
I would agree. And so we've got Shutters as well as Jimbo Pfeiffer now on the pit lane, taking repairs instead of just fuel.
It's a rough night for the Sector 5 team there, with Pfeiffer now taking on some repairs. And we saw, of course, Brian Bennett in that opening. He's at least on a recovery at this point, but neither driver having the night they hoped for.
So, Larry, this might be a great time to mention that tonight's race stewards are provided by the SCCA Foundation. The SCCA Foundation provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information.
Keeping race steward Cobb very busy.
Yes.
All right, so the battle in LMP2 is tightened up a little bit as Josh Shinsky has closed up that gap now to just a half a second. You can see him off the tail of Carson Cushman's car right here as they come up onto, see who that is right there in front of them. Is that Barbieri?
I would say it's either Barberi. Barberi's back out, and Wedderburn isn't. So, yes.
All right. Well, that's going to spice things up a little bit in the LMP2 battle. Does Chinsky think he has a move going through the downhill braking in cars without ABS? As it's tight, and you lose some of the aero too. There's a lot of aero wash on the back of these things. Chinsky's going to get a good run, but that does mean there's opportunity for draft. Can Cushman get the speed? Who's running a little more trimmed wings here on the long straight?
Yeah, it looked as though Cushman got a great jump out of Ravazza. Let's see if Chinsky can close things down as they come down to Tamburello.
No, can't. And I think when you talk about Cushman getting that better run off the last corner, some of that is you got clean air to get that front end to bite, and you get the back end to kind of plant a little better. That second car you wash, you get a bit of a push. You have
to get out of the throttle. You have to get out of the throttle just to get the nose planted again.
Aggressively here, trying to at least show the inside is Chinsky. Cushman's not going to fall for it though. That's pretty good stuff right here.
It is.
They get some from free track to play. As they go past all the houses that are literally dotting the hillside here along the track. This is a neighborhood they're driving through essentially.
Aquaman Raleigh and back up the hill.
There's a house up there on the right-hand side. If you ever get the chance, you can just Google satellite this thing and see how this literally is just a stretch of pavement in between these little classic stone houses.
I mean, so many circuits were built like this. You look at Spa, same general general
yeah,
thing.
and this was kind of built in the middle of this little town, and the original track was essentially almost like an oval, basically snaked all the way to one end, turn around and snaked all the way back to Ravazza, and that was pretty much the track. And obviously now they've added a lot of chicanes to slow some of that stuff down and make it interesting. But the idea of it's still in the middle of these neighborhood and these stone houses, people basically lose the access to their house for a couple of days when the race comes to town. All right, so we got Travis Schwenke, and is that Rob Hartley now?
It's Rob Hartley, yeah. And so Hartley having to make some adjustments as the GTP field was starting to come through, giving his teammate Travis Schwenke a bit of a run.
Oh, they had a little bit of a GTP incident there off in the gravel trap to contend with.
Ryan Reisman, I think that's Reisman in the gravel trap.
And that was actually, we were watching, there was Mike Dam and Leo Jagoda, not even the Schwenke-Hartley battle, but it's the replay of the Reisman incident, and there he goes. No contact, but he's beached it. And there's your leaders in GT3 coming through with the leader in GTP right behind him. All right, so this now is Schwenke and Hartley. The green trim and the yellow trim of the Orion cars.
All right, let's jump back over to LMP2, Larry, as Cushman and Chinsky once again have re-engaged.
Yes, they have. And now they got a Jeff Jacobs full load of fuel right in front of him. Let's see if Jeff yields to these two before they get to this opening chicane here in turn one. Nope, they're going to follow him through. Let's see if Chinsky decides to make a move before they exit the third apex here. Cushman's going to get defensive. Oh, this is good. Every car they come up on, just a little bit of an obstacle to try and roll through.
And we can see there where Chinsky a little bit later on the brakes as they came into Tosa, took a quick look to the inside, and just nothing there. He did
that earlier. We were looking at them, and I think that's maybe his line, or he's just flashing the mirrors there. But he gets stuck behind.
And now he's going to flash the lights.
One of the Frito Sport entries there. I don't know if that was Brockway perhaps, but what else is Brockway supposed to do? He's got to take his line, and unfortunately for Chinsky, that's just going to put a little bit of daylight now up to Cushman. Goes by one of the Corvettes there. Maybe Marlon Jones? Yep, that's Jones, 25. Well, it does look like, though, Cushman's going to get stuck behind some GT3s. In fact, some damaged GT3s. Yeah. Chad Sebrin's Porsche has seen a better day.
We'll see if he can clear it before they get down to the down to turn one.
John Casey in that Corvette now is going to get placed between these two. Cushman's getting some pretty good brakes here in this traffic. Chinsky is not getting the same brakes.
No,
nothing
he isn't.
The other drivers can do.
Well, you never know, Larry. May flip the other way as this race continues.
It's exactly it. And if you're Chinsky, you be patient. You just know that, yes, these last couple laps have not gone your way, but in 75-minute races, it's bound to turn around. So you just keep running your laps, do what you can to be efficient, and wait for it to come back to you. We've seen it happen once already. He was down 2 seconds before, and then he was on his tail. Now he's back to almost 3 seconds down. We've had a change at some point as Leo Jagoda's got the lead in GT3 Pro. And they've got lap traffic in front of them.
Yeah, they've got Andre Wedderburn and Barberi. Wedderburn having affected his repairs. He is now showing he's working lap 9.
This should be a replay of the pass on the main straight, side by side. I think Dam's going to put up too much of a fight. Remember, he talked pre-race about Not going to ruin anybody else's race. That's the smart thing to do here.
It just tucks back in, and off they go.
Ooh,
although,
yeah,
it's getting a little hectic there for him.
The Constantina effect there through the Variante Alta. So we got to be getting somewhat close to a pit window here. We know we've seen Jeff Jacobs come in and take on fuel for maybe a reason there. But I think we're probably also getting to where the rest of the field may be thinking about it. And if you're in a battle like this and maybe you're not wanting to get stuck behind someone else's pace, we might start to see some undercuts.
Yeah, indeed. So as we mentioned, pit window for the GT3 cars should be opening up, well, right about now. On lap 17, we'd expect it to go as much as 26 laps deep. Of course, since our ticker showing you the total number of laps for our leader, and that is in the GTP class, the GTP cars, their window opens up, well, right around lap 19, so about a lap ago. And the LMP2 racers, lap 21. And they are about 2 laps before hitting that opening.
All right, well, Brian Bennett continues his charge through the field after the opening lap incident here. Now it looks like he's up into the top 10, yeah.
Let's jump up to our overall leader, Bailey Petrowski here. And thank you, John, for putting that on screen. I was just going to ask what those deltas looked like between he and Tanner Dibble running in second, because Dibble's been keeping Petrowski fairly honest here tonight, Larry. Is the margin only right? It's been kind of bouncing around between like 1.6, 1.7 seconds and 2 seconds.
Well, now they're coming up on the P2 leaders there. You got Josh Chinsky, he'll be the first one at 18. And then, of course, Cushman not too far ahead. This could be interesting. See how patient Petrowski is, knowing that Tanner Dibble is right on his tail. Literally on his tail. There's nothing separating them right now. And these cars, again, having driven the P2 last weekend against these GTPs, the GTPs are actually a little slower through the corners than the LMP2s, but the horsepower on the straightaways you're about to see is just tremendous difference.
Yeah.
Oh, how much faster a GTP is on a straightaway than an LMP2. It's just crazy. They're so strong from corner to braking zone.
So is part of the issue with the slower move out of the corners, Larry, because of the longer wheelbase, or is it
yeah, they are. They're longer, they're a little bit heavier. And so that the P2s are able to kind of get into the corner and apex a little bit quicker than the GTPs. But GTPs make up for it and are typically about 5 seconds a lap, at least at Sebring, faster. And what we're seeing here, Petrowski and Dibble are running 130s. The P2s, they're running 135s, 130 in that range. So gives you that delta, a couple of seconds easily. Dibble trying to get through traffic as best he can. It's patience. Lots of patience required.
Oh, Yuri.
Yeah. Doesn't want to push the issue. He's smart. Yeah. But yeah, it's a tough place to do it. Also knowing that he's a little slower through the actual apexes of the Aqua Minerale, better to wait until the uphill run and he can go on by Carson Cushman, the leader in P2. Great to see all 3 of our classes contested at the front. Slip right in there, Bailey.
Don't mind if I do.
And then there's Dibble right there. Yeah, I think you're seeing on that graphic there the delta and how Dibble was able to close the gap to Petrowski. I think a lot of it just may be this traffic. They've been fighting through both GT3, and now that they've reached the P2 traffic, it's actually harder to get by them, as I mentioned, because the cornering delta is inverted, essentially. It's hard. They have to use the straightaways, and around this track, there's probably only about 3 points where you can actually use straightaway to get by them, and they aren't even all that long. So a little bit tougher through traffic, and Bailey got there first. So Rose able to, or Dibble, excuse me, able to take advantage.
All right, so John Sterling, the first of our GTP racers to take advantage of the pit stall and take fuel and take tires. And Bobby Childs now will pit in as well, pitting in from 5th. Travis Schwenke now, Larry, one of our very first GT3 racers to come down the pit lane.
Interesting. Yeah, I start to wonder, maybe this is traffic management for Travis. If they were coming up on some lap traffic or something and felt it was easier to come in now and take your chances on getting some clear track after, because he was in that battle with his teammate, Rob Hartley.
Now, remember also, Larry, and this might be a good time, and we'll do this. Actually, you know what? Let's take a break because we're right up at the top of the hour. When we come back, I want to talk about the finish to this GT3 race 2 weeks ago at Le Mans, because certainly something that most of us did not expect, but we see there as Schwenke rejoins the action. He's going to rejoin in 14th position. But we're going to take a quick break. Thanks to our partners and sponsors. And when we come back, we'll take you all the way to the checkered flag here at Imola, where you're watching round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge here on Apex.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back, everybody. We're at Imola. It is round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, haven't had too many drivers take service while we were gone, but I did say I wanted to talk a little bit about that finish that we had 2 weeks ago at Le Mans, specifically in GT3. Where Leo Dragota took his very first win of the season. Started from pole, went all the way to the checkered flag, but this is odd because he was of course, the race started in the wet, or the damp, and finished up on the dry. The drivers ended up mostly switching over to dry weather tires. But Leo was the only racer on the lead lap when the checkered flag came out, and he had a hell of a fight going on with Mike Dam at the time, and Dam ran out of fuel on his final lap, and I think, and it wasn't just something that afflicted him. I think it was Travis Schwenke as well that also ran out of fuel. I'm trying to remember.
Might have been Taj Edwards.
Taj Edwards, that's right. It was Taj Edwards who finished third.
Those two both tried to single stop it, and it turns out they couldn't make it.
They couldn't by about, I don't know what, 3 miles or thereabouts, which is
it's one of those. Yeah, had the GTP leader not been able to get that extra lap, they would have made it. The extra lap, as it came to be, is what ended up causing them. And when it's a 8-mile lap like it is around the rural areas of France, a little bit of miscalculation is a big miss there.
All it took. It was one lap too far. So it was Dragota, Dam, and Edwards, your top 3, all from Orion Racing, with Brian Bennett finishing 4th, and then Akira Iwata finished that race in 5th. And John, if we can just throw up the point standings currently in GT3, so currently at with 5 in the books.
So close.
Iwata there with 254, 6 points up on Taj Edwards. Leo Dragota only 2 points back from there, and then Mike Dam a single point back from there. So all the Orion racers separated by 6 points.
And keep in mind that I believe Iwata already has 1 drop because he didn't make it to Monza. I don't know if he doesn't like Italian racetracks, not sure.
Yeah,
but
he's not here either.
He did not make it to the Monza race, doesn't make it here tonight. There will be a new points leader at the end of this thing tonight. Right now, Dragota and Dam are in the best position for that, with Taj having the open lap issues. We'll keep our eyes on that, but it's so close between all of those Orion drivers.
All right, so Larry, as we're covering that, the majority of our LMP2 field now has headed to the pit lane and taken service. The one outlier, Trevor Anderson, in the number 98 Dallara. He is currently your leader. He is currently yet to pit. When he does, Carson Cushman should retake the lead over Josh Chinsky. And looks like Cushman may have picked up a little bit of an advantage there over Chinsky. It's now at about a whole second here as Mike Dam pits in from 2nd. He's also our 2nd of the Orion racers to come down the pit lane, and he is now heading back out. And it looks like he might get stuck behind Greg Brockway at pit out, and have to deal with Brockway on the way up to turn number 1 here, as we did also just have Zach Mosley and his Mustang come down the pit lane. I think we saw him there for a moment in his Mustang. He's taken service already. He's now on his way back out as well.
Yeah, it looks like Brockway was able to just yield to Dam as they went into that opening chicane. Good sportsmanship move there. So we'll see. I'm sure Mike Dam's plan was to get a good in-lap, a good out-lap, and maybe try and challenge Leo Dragota through the pits. We'll keep an eyes on that as Trevor Anderson, for a moment there, led the P2 class. This should now hand the lead back over to Cushman, and then Chinsky. Anderson should be fighting for 3rd, and our leader is in overall.
There you go. So Bailey Petrowski now taking service. That is going to elevate Tanner Dibble to the lead in his Porsche 963. There's Mr. Dibble. And
this will get down to traffic as well. So if Dibble can get a relatively low traffic lap, there's a chance he can leapfrog him. So we'll keep our eyes on that.
Yeah, so we'll definitely take a look there. And so 2 weeks ago at Le Mans, it was Bailey Petrowski who ran from pole to take the checkered flag. And finishing 2nd, Ben Rose, who started 3rd. and finished second. And a great run for Dave Meneno, who is not here this evening. Meneno started 9th in GTP, took the last stop on the podium, finished in 3rd, with Aaron Beaver from Invictus finishing in 4th. And so let's quickly take a look at the championship standings in GTP, and not quite as close as what we see in GT3, but not all that spread out either, Larry, as we got Bailey Petrowski with 262 points, 10 points back Ben Rose, another 10 points back from there, Dave Meneno, and then Jordan Butler, only 3 points back from there, running in 4th. And as we take a look here, we've got Petrowski with 2 wins. We've got Ben Rose with a win. We've got Meneno with a win, and we've got Jordan Butler with a win as well. So you never really know this. Of course, Petrowski looking for win number 3 here this evening to really separate himself from the rest of the field.
And Dibble without a win yet. He would love to try and get one here tonight. He's going to have to probably get very close to taking the lead here on this pit exchange. We'll keep our eyes on that when Dibble does finally make his way in. How close is Petrowski's? We just saw him fighting with some traffic. This is Charlie Hosea in the middle of a GT3 pack coming down pit lane.
And he is being followed by Robert Hartley in his Orion Acura. Hartley pitting in from 2nd. And Keith Stein, who's running 3rd at the moment, he's going to pit in as well with his Corvette. Chris Thorman in the Ferrari falling in, and now it looks like almost everybody's coming down the pit lane. Brian Bennett pitting in from 5th, and interestingly enough, Larry, because he hasn't pitted in, look at Taj Edwards now, who stays out, moves up to 2nd, albeit 40+ seconds behind his teammate Leo Dragota.
Yeah, we will. We'll see when Dragota comes in. We've been trying to keep an eye on Mike Dam. A little tougher tonight than sometimes, as he pitted so early. He was pretty far down the order, waiting for the rest of that field. We'll see what that looks like between Dragota and Dam. Now it looks like it's about 48 seconds between them at the moment, but Leo's still yet to pit.
Yeah, but the GT3 cars, Larry, they're hitting right about the very end of that pit window. Right around lap 26 is when we anticipated it would close, and so everybody is seeming to come in. Yeah. Speaking of one of our championship contenders here, here's Ben Rose in the DNA Acura. And I think he had a bit of an issue here.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's more than an issue.
Hit. That's the Variante Alta there at the top of the hill. That there's super tight chicane with really big curbs. And that's a big wall that he ran into. Let's catch the onboard. Do you really want to onboard? If you got a weak stomach, maybe turn away. It's gonna be a pretty big hit.
If you're wearing 3D, or not 3D, if you're wearing virtual reality goggles, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough one there for Ben. As you said, he had one race earlier. He's in championship contention up there in the top 2 position. Not going to get points.
Hey, Larry, look at this. So we're watching right now the 963 Porsche of Tanner Dibble. He is your new race leader. Coming just out of the corner at the back of the shot there was Bailey Petrowski, who is now almost 3.5 seconds in arrears, running in 2nd position. Dibble has completed his pit cycle, and so has picked up a lot of ground here. His time in the pit box, Larry, almost 2 full seconds less than Bailey Petrowski.
That explains some of it, but I start to wonder also if his in-laps versus out-laps have been a little bit quicker, maybe a traffic management issue there for Petrowski, but this is exactly what Tanner Dibble needed. Again, you mentioned all the names that are in championship contention that have wins this year. Tanner is not one of them yet.
Right.
He needed that exactly thing to be happening there as he goes through Ravatza here. He needed that exact thing. He needed to be able to make a jump like that and have a shot. And now with his teammate right behind him, Ryan Reisman, he's got a bit of a buffer before Petrowski can make a move with less than 25 minutes to go. And that is John Sterling having an issue.
And we saw his teammate in the Chevy Corvette, Radburn Shutters, have the same issue in the warm-ups before we went on air.
Let's see. I suspect he ends up making contact that car, and that is a lot of contact.
Yes.
Which car is that? That's It's a P2 car.
The green P2 car. Was that?
Is it Strikers?
Strikers?
Or is it Lehman? It's one of the.
Let me see.
One of the SRT eSport drivers. I just maybe expected Sterling to go all the way through and past the Rockefeller Racing GT3, and when Sterling checked up, caught that P2 car a little bit out of position. Oof. Yeah, I don't know that Sterling ever felt that coming. Probably did not.
And he heads to the pits for repairs.
Well, Caleb Lehman is on pit lane right now, and I'm starting to wonder if perhaps he was the other driver involved there.
I think you're right there. Yeah, with the green rear, that would make sense. The 819 car.
Oh, let's check in on our GT3 lead. That's Leo Jagoda back in front.
Yep, Leo Dragoda up about a second and a half on teammate Mike Dam. We saw Taj Edwards up towards the front of the field. Edwards just completed his service on end of lap 27. He rejoins in 10th position. And that's still, we were talking about the recovery that Bennett had made, where Bennett had ended up as far down as 21st after that lap 1 incident with Taj Edwards. Edwards had fallen all the way back to 28th position, so looks like that longer run on fuel actually helped him leapfrog a number of racers later.
I wonder if perhaps it was an issue with Bennett, because he is pretty far down the order right now. He looked for a while there to have a pretty good run going through that traffic, but not so much anymore. But Dragoda here, clean in and out of his pit stop, able to clear Mike Dam, who tried the undercut, didn't work. Dam's going to have to do it on full merit here. Maybe he'll get a little luck with some traffic. He's got 1.3 seconds to try and get by. He does get by at least. The Frito Sport driver there going into turn 1. A lot of work to do there for Mike Dam as we check in with Taj Edwards here on the heels of Stacy Bertrand's Mustang. For 9th, with Chris Thorman in 8th, right in front of Stacy.
All right, Larry, let's do this. Let's jump up to the lead in GTP, because Bailey Petrowski has made up almost all of the margin that he had to on Tanner Dibble.
And Bailey's teammate is right in the mix there. That's Bobby Childs trying to stay out of the way, and he does. But this is getting interesting because now there's a P2 car right in front of Tanner Dibble.
Middle, yeah.
Oof. Yeah, it's Avon Dorsey then right in front of the P2 car in front of Tanner Dibble. Tanner's going to try and clear Avon before he gets down to Ravazza. I don't know if Bailey's going to get that lucky, though.
No, I don't think so.
But watch this delta. You'll see Bailey not really gain at all through Ravazza on the P2. It's coming out now in the power, so it didn't really hinder Bailey at all. Oh, Bobby. That's a bit of run through some grass. But misses breaking point going into Ravazza. Let's catch a replay here. Yep, this just smells like late breaks down the hill for Bobby. Let's see if that's what it is. He got a little bit actually grass on the right side, perhaps.
Yeah.
So it was breaking down.
Well, I think he was trying to avoid the car ahead. I think he may have just missed his braking point.
Still chucking some gravel out of the car. So much traffic for Dibble here. I think that's Rob Hartley in front of him there.
Looking in the chat, Stubby. Looks like Stubby was prepared for that last Bobby move. You can look now, Stubby. It's okay.
Well, with no Klim Club in the house tonight, no Klim drivers running, so our audience is a little bit different tonight. Just Stubby holding down the fort.
This is Taj Edwards going to come underneath Stacy Bertrand in the Mustang. Looks like Stacy conceded the corner there. She knew it was coming.
Yeah, aggressive positioning there for Edwards to try and force Bertrand to make a move, and Bertrand kind of backed out a little bit, let Edwards through. Probably a little bit of self-preservation there. I might have done the same thing. Aggressive drivers often kind of put you in tough positions to hold lines. So Edwards aggressive, gets the payoff.
And interesting here, you know what I'd love to see, John, if we could get a shot, like an in-car shot going into Ravazza, into 17, because judging by the camera that we've got there pointing back, quite a bit of glare off the pavement, and I would bet that the sun is in a lot of people's eyes going down in there now. And and we saw Bobby Childs maybe perhaps miss the braking zone, and it just might be a question that drivers are having trouble spotting their markers now.
Well, with less than 20 minutes to go, Dibble still has a 1 second advantage on Billy Petrowski. Got a few minutes to breathe here without traffic in front of him. We'll see how many corners that lasts. But look at this, all three classes contested again. Dibble just a second and a half to Petrowski, Cushman and LMP2 just 0.8 to Josh Dinsky, and Dragota just 1.7 to his teammate Mike Dam. So everything's still in play.
Yeah, and obviously not that bad going in, much worse coming out of the final two corners. So never mind, Bobby. I tried to make excuses for you, man.
I think Bobby came down the hill to get on the brakes. He remembered that just beyond the outside wall, there's a great place with cannolis. He got a little distracted.
Got very distracted, yeah. Cannolis. Meanwhile, how much pizza's left, Larry?
At least 3 or 4 slices. I got enough for you. Like pepperoni?
Yes, as a matter of fact. Although I'm still recovering from all the cheese on Millie's pizza this weekend.
Somebody was at VIR.
Yes, they were.
You haven't been to VIR, then you haven't had Millie's. You need to go. Are you there again in about 2 weeks?
Unless, of course, you're lactose intolerant.
It still tastes good. There's just repercussions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll be back there in 2 weeks.
So one thing we were talking about during the break that I think we need to add to iRacing. So iRacing, guys, if you're listening, we need critters. We need random critters to run out. Maybe a random deer across the track. Maybe, I don't know, an armadillo to poke their head out. Maybe a kangaroo rat or whatever it is.
Yes, a kangaroo rat. That's what they're called out at Buttonwillow. Well, actually, nobody's actually seen a kangaroo rat at Buttonwillow. They've just seen their droppings.
We need that kind of realism in iRacing. I say this having seen an armadillo run out onto the track at a real race at NOLA last weekend. The critters are real. They will disrupt the race very quickly.
Yes, they will.
Maybe we need those.
Well, we've seen that in Formula One as well, with small animals running across the track.
Give the sheep at Sonoma access to the track. We can make this more realistic.
Oh yeah.
Look at this battle we have on track, though. We need to keep focusing on the good stuff. That is Trevor Anderson
and Yvonne Dorsey.
Yes, that's the battle for third. This is great. Whew. Dorsey able to just poke ahead there as they head down towards Aquila and Raleigh. That's pretty good. Let's see if they can get a good exit. So tough to get an exit here. That 1X on the track limits is tough to avoid. They look pretty good here as they head up to the Variante Alta using all of the curbing. So just about 15 minutes, 16 minutes left. Dibble Petrowski, just a couple of car lengths. There it is. Really trying to hold up the local Ferrari name here at the track in Italy. Well, as Dibble proved the Porsche prowess here.
And so Dibble just reset fast lap at a 1:33.9, which is all of 1/100th of a second faster than Bailey's run previously. Let's see if Bobby can respond. And actually he did at a 1:32.1, which begs the question, why does our timing and scoring not show that as maybe it wasn't a valid lap, maybe he went off track.
There's any horsepower advantage here, maybe a little bit for the Ferrari, but here's just trying to get up underneath Josh Chinsky there in the LMP2 car going into that Tamarillo chicane.
And this could cause them to perhaps contract a little bit, Larry.
Yep.
Right
they still have to get around Cushman, your LMP2 leader.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the back of the purple and silver livery right in front of Tanner Dibble, who's on a bit of a flyer. These guys they're running their fastest sectors of the race. They're both running in the mid 130s, awfully close to their personal best laps of the race. This is full on speed between Dibble and Petrowski. At this stage, no one's holding anything back.
Interesting there is you would have thought maybe Bailey would have pushed the issue, tried to shove the car underneath Chinsky. He waited just a little bit longer, and perhaps to his detriment here as they come down the hill into 17.
Yeah, we'll see. They're both going to get stuck here behind GT3 cars through Ravazza 1 and 2. Although good exit for Petrowski, planned ahead to try and hit that late apex there. See if he can close up and avoid getting stuck behind a GT3, because look at this, it's just a train of GT3s equally spaced down the long straightaway.
Wow. And Dibble made a little bob and weave there to get around Stacy Bertrand's Mustang at just the right time as he comes up now on I assume this is not David Payton. This is his teammate Chris Thorman.
I think he may have a Taj Edwards up next in front of him. But able to open up to 1.3. That's about as big a lead we've seen since just shortly after the pit stop exchange. All this because of traffic. It just takes one car in the wrong position for Dibble, though, to change things quickly. And there's 3 GT3s that are about to be going through the Variante Alta here in just a second. Looks like it's pretty clean for Dibble. Can he get by him before Ravazza? I don't think he can do all 3, though. I think maybe just the one here.
Yeah, I think perhaps just the one. He's a little too far back.
He's going to get stuck behind the others. That's going to give a chance for Bailey to close up a little bit. Pretty good exit there. Bailey's able to now close up to just that 6/10. 12 minutes left. Bailey still a bit of draft off the Corvette GT3 car as best he can.
So he picked up a negligible amount through the chicane.
This is good. Remember, it was Petrowski that seemed to be controlling the race. In fact, we were just about to tout how great he was mastering this track when suddenly Dibble had responded and kept it to about a 3-second margin for Petrowski. Then they get to the fuel stops, and it was a difference in time and maybe a different traffic that they had to attack, and advantage back to Dibble, who had a better pit stop. And here we are, 11 minutes to go, and Dibble's still hanging on.
All right, so as we watch this, Larry, we've talked about where we stand right now in the championship with GTP and also GT3. Let's take a quick look here at LMP2. 2 weeks ago, we mentioned Carson Cushman took the win.
There's Dibble went off, and he's into the wall.
And your leader is off.
He had made his way past, and for him, probably thinking this is great. He could put a couple GT3 cars between he and Billy Petrowski, but then he was late getting into the Variante Alta, popped one of the curbs and nosed into a wall. He's got some damage there. I don't know if it's severe, but certainly there's some front end. Let's catch this replay. Good shot here overhead. Watch him. He'll clear the GT3s, but he turns in awkwardly, and I think a little bit too hot. Just can't make it.
Yeah, he pushed wide and gave it a little extra crank of the wheel, Larry, to try and correct. And the rear end did exactly what he wanted, and it put him right into the wall.
Oh, that's so unfortunate for Dibble. That really ends what was a great run for him. I don't know if there's going to be much else he could do. Let's watch this replay again as he gets to about here and realizes that braking point's a little further back. And those curbs are tall. You just have no grip over them.
Yeah, rear end rotated. He had the wheel cranked over and just could not get any bite from the front wheels.
Yeah, Petrowski probably saw that develop. He could see he was just behind those two GT3 cars at the moment then. And for him, probably thinking, oh, I got to make sure that I don't make the same mistake. And here he is back in front now by 6 seconds over Dibble. 10 minutes to go, almost 9 minutes now on the clock. Yeah. Petrowski needs to just keep his nose clean. Dibble got to be kicking himself.
Yeah, so Petrowski definitely with some breathing room at this point here. All right, so now, Larry, let's take a look at our LMP2 race. So Cushman took that win, and that was, I believe, his second win in a row. He had won round 4 and 5 now, and Josh Chinsky, who was your pole sitter on the evening, finished in second, just a second and a half back from the Purple Sector Motorsports racer. Caleb Lehman, Chinsky's teammate, finished in third, with Kyle Stryker, as another SRT eSport racer, finishing just off the podium in fourth. And so if we take a look at the point standings now, it is Josh Chinsky, your points leader. He's got 1 win on the season, 4 poles, however, with 257 points. His teammate, Caleb Lehman, only 4 points back in the championship. And then we've got Trevor Anderson, although he has not taken a win yet this season. He is sitting third in the championship. He is 20 points back from our championship leader, Avon Dorsey, currently sitting fourth in the championship. And so, just on basis of the number of rounds that he's attended, this is only Cushman's third round here running this season. So he's only run about half the, not just about half the season. And he is looking for his third win in a row here tonight, and that should move him up from 8th in the championship where he currently stands.
It'll help him a lot. Unfortunately, looking to the long end of the season of these 8 events, he's not going to quite have enough. There aren't enough drops as he had missed those first 3 events. But certainly he's leaving his mark on this season, and probably maybe looking forward to the next time we run the World Challenge. But right now, he's looking to just collect wins as often as he can, and he's all of about 7 minutes away from maybe chalking up 3 in the row. For Chinsky, he's collecting points, and he's doing it now, trying to build that lead in the overall of the class, and trying to win another championship for him.
And meanwhile, he's got no traffic right now. as we compare with what Tanner Dibble and Billy Petrowski had just a few moments ago, where it was never-ending traffic.
Yeah, so Dibble, after the incident, he was about 5-6 seconds back from Petrowski, now dropped to 7 seconds. Third place was Charlie Hosea, just as we were starting to go through the point standings there in LMP2. We actually had a camera shot of Charlie Hosea recovering from a spin. he has dropped even further down on time from Dibble, so no real threat. Dibble just now has to hang on.
And he's almost a full lap back from, matter of fact, I think Dibble and Jose are pretty much right in the same area of the track at the moment, with Jose a full lap down from Dibble.
Yeah, and then also Cushman's lead now up to 5.5 seconds. We saw Chinsky as close as, just like we saw with Dibble and Petrowski, nose to tail.
Less than a second.
Yeah, some traffic, I think, has caused some separation between them now. Avon Dorsey sitting in third. So I think it's that Avon Dorsey from Rockefeller Racing in third in LMP2, and Charlie Osea from Rockefeller Racing in third in GTP.
And here in GT3, it is still Leo Dragota and Mike Dam. He's hanging tough, and Dam's closed up quite a bit post pit stops, Larry, as he's now only half a car length back.
Yeah, here with that's Charlie Hosea and the GTP going through, and again, GTP is that they are a bit big and slow turning in the initial bit part of the corner there. The GT3 maybe a bit compromised from where Leo Dragota wanted to take that run, but look at this nose to tail. I'm sure just like Mike Dam planned it.
Yeah, exactly.
Here with 4 or 5 minutes left in this race. Now, we've seen this before, though, with these two teammates, with any of the two teammates. Pick two of your favorite Orion drivers. They're both extremely fast and have probably had battles. Dragota knows how to hold off his teammates. Let's see if he can apply that same knowledge and skill here. Looking at the unofficial, but it's official to some, is the GT3 AM. I think it's Lucas Dragota, the highest running GT3 AM right now. Currently running...
running 13th of all the GT4 cars, or all the GT3 cars, probably just a moment. And I think Dan Carrillo, who is, about 3 seconds back from him, currently running second in what would be the AM category.
All right, 3.5 minutes to go.
And Petrowski, your leader in GTP. Tanner Dibble second. Charlie Hosea third. In LMP2, it is Carson Cushman with Josh Chinsky and Avon Dorsey running 1, 2, 3. And in GT3, it's an all Acura top 3 at the moment with Leo Dragota, Mike Dam, and Robert Hartley.
We know that Dragota's had a couple of wins in this season. In fact, of course, he won at Le Mans in the rain 2 weeks ago. Mike Dam has not yet had a class win here this season.
I think he's the only one of the top 4 in the championship right now who has not.
Oh, well, Rob Hartley is the other one who, in this class, hasn't even had a reasonably typical Hartley level of finish. No. His best finish so far this season, 6th. So he's looking to try and improve that with a potential podium. He's just got about 3 more minutes to go. But look at Mike Dam now, maybe sizing up young Dragota for a pass attempt, at least in the next 2 laps or so. Petrowski, I think your overall race leader, just started a lap, so we might get white flag next time by for Petrowski, and then we'll trickle that down to battles like this one. See if Mike Dam can take advantage of this and get a better run out of Ravazza.
Well, look at that as Jacobs just immediately yanks the car over driver's left.
He wants nothing to do with being in these guys' way. Doesn't want to give draft, doesn't want to do anything.
Either one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to show favorites.
Yeah.
It's the lawyerly thing to do.
Carla Jones kind of doing the same thing here.
The difference is that Jones is going to run out of racetrack here in a second.
Hey, smart move there with Jones able to slip back in without really getting in front of Jeff Jacobs. Jacobs maybe panicked a little bit, ends up in the ground. Petrowski should be coming up on Ravazza. There he is for the second to last time. White flag next time by for Bailey Petrowski.
And yep, there it is. White flag is in the air for the Ferrari driver.
Cousin waving that flag. All right, so
at this point, Mike Dam is checking his fuel levels.
He is. They should make their full lap and a half here. They'll get white flag next time by. See if Mike Dam's got anything left. Riley veteran. See if he's got some kind of move up his sleeve. Jagoda not one to leave any room for moves. He's pretty precise. Every time we see him, we know what he's been doing in the Mini-Mite series. Winning after winning after winning. He's been pretty strong here, race after race here in World Challenge. And one lap to go. Can he hold off his teammate? There's Cushman trying to make his way through. Your leader in LMP2 trying to get through the leaders in GT3. That's going to hurt Mike Dam a little bit. Although Cushman in his defense has got Josh Chinsky. There you can see him.
Yeah, exactly. He's got his own race to worry about because Chinsky's started to close things up in the last 2 or 3 laps.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
With one corner to go, Bailey making it interesting. Decides to add some gravel to the intake ducts. Maybe he should still see checker, and he does.
And he does. So taking the win in GTP, much to Tanner Dibble's distress, is Bailey Petrowski. Let's take a look here at the battle in GT3.
Oh, Mike Dam, great opportunity attempted there. I don't know. It was a great attempt going into Aqua Minerale. It actually probably started all the way back there at Paratella, but not to be yet. One more time through the Variante Alta. Maybe he'll have a chance as they come down the hill. That's still Josh Chinsky behind them, though. Maybe Josh is saying, I'm not going to catch Cushman.
Yeah, I don't think – I think Chinsky's pretty much decided to just settle in. Yeah, and he's backed off.
Oh, there's a little contact. Just giving young Dragoda a little bit of a bump for good luck.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think he's going to have the draft. Mike Dam flashing the lights. He knows it's done. Taking the win here tonight from Imola in GT3, it's Leo Dragoda. Mike Dam is going to finish in second. And in LMP2 with Chinsky backing out there at the last moment, Carson Cushman takes his 3rd win in a row. Chinsky will finish second. Avon Dorsey should finish in 3rd. So it's and GTP, except Petrowski and Dibble, Charlie Hosea from Rockefeller Racing will take the last step on the podium. And once again, Larry, it is not only a top 3, but a top 4 in GT3 for the Orion Acuras.
Yeah, they continue their dominant efforts, and what a great couple laps there at the end. Yeah. Mike Dam threw the kitchen sink at young Dragoda. Dragoda withstood it all and gets the win.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just a few moments. We'll recap our finish, and we'll talk to some of our podium finishers here from Imola, where you've just seen round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. We'll be right back.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name brand parts. Expert support. Ricmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go. Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back to Imola, everybody, where you've just seen round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, let's take a quick look at that finishing order once again, where Bailey Petrowski takes the win for Invictus in GTP with Tanner Dibble. And wow, what could have been for Tanner Dibble there with just 4 laps remaining. It was all for his taking. The DNA Motorsports driver finishes second. Charlie Hosea will finish in third. Bobby Childs, good run for Bobby, finishing just off the podium in fourth. And in LMP2, Carson Cushman takes his 3rd win in a row for Purple Sector Motorsports. Josh Chinsky will finish in 2nd with Rockefeller Racing's Avon Dorsey finishing in 3rd. And in GT3, Leo Dragota takes the win for Orion with his teammate Mike Dam finishing 2nd. His other teammate, Robert Hartley, finishing in 3rd. Great run for Robert, as we mentioned. I think best he'd finished so far this season was 6th, so good upgrade for him. And Travis Schwenke, another one of Leo's teammates, will finish in 4th. All right, let's take a look, Larry, and see if we've got anybody in the green room ready to talk to us. And the answer is no.
It's lonely. Well, we'll give it a minute for the points to update as well, and if they do while we're doing interviews, we'll bring some updates.
While we're doing that, let's take a look at what we've got coming up in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
Here, and actually now everybody has popped in, but next week, Monday night, March 31st, it is round number 7 of the Mini-Mite Sports Car Championship for our GT4 and LMP3 racers. We are heading down under. It's going to be Bathurst. Here we go. 60 minutes on the clock at Mount Panorama. In 2 weeks, the World Challenge returns to the old country. We're going to be heading to the Nürburgring GP circuit for another 75-minute race for our penultimate round. And then in 3 weeks, the Mini-Mite Sports Car Challenge heads to Daytona for the season finale for a 60-minute race. All right, so it looks like we've got a couple of our prototype racers showing up in the green room here, Larry. Let's bring in our overall winner tonight from Invictus, driving the number 115 Ferrari. It's Bailey Petrowski.
All right, Bailey, definitely an eventful race tonight. You seem to have a really strong handle at the beginning of this race, but Tanner never really let you get loose. And then you come out of the pits, and next thing you know, Tanner takes his stop, and he's out in front of you. How hard was that to continue to work now from behind to stay close before the things finally changed in the end?
I think it was more of a mental battle than anything for me, because I knew I was just barely quicker. It's just not being too aggressive with the traffic, not driving over my head, and just trying to get as close as I could, trying to wait for anything to happen, but traffic was very brutal. So every time I caught up, always would fall back again, and then I was second guessing my strategy because it obviously didn't work the way I wanted it to, and there's a lot going on in my head, so it's hard to keep myself focused.
Yeah, what kind of view did you have there of Tanner as he went by those GT3s into the Variante Alta? Were you able to see him go off, or did you kind of catch that after you got alongside the other 2 GT3 cars?
He was kind of in a blind spot for me, didn't see him at all, went into the corner, then all of a sudden he was nowhere to be seen. It was kind of like a magic trick from my end, and then I look in my mirror and see him off to the right. So I'm not really sure what happened, but definitely unfortunate what happened because it was looking to be a very close end of the race. And he had the pace to keep it. It would have been very difficult for me to get past if that didn't happen. I'm not sure I would have been able to get close enough to pull a move. Just the new tires on the cars, it's been hard to be confident under braking. So I don't know if I would have been confident enough to send a move down the inside on him.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit early in this race, about how the new tire model just released a week or 2 weeks ago, I guess now. How much does that change the setup at all, or does it just change your driving technique until the tires are warm?
It does change the setups quite a bit because they also dropped the amount of downforce we had. So most of our previous setups that we would use, there's too much rear ride height, so the car would spin almost immediately whenever you got on throttle. So, and even just dropping the rear ride height didn't change much. So I think there are some changes we did to the suspension, but overall, we do make quite a few changes to like the anti-roll bars and brake bias on the first stint. Just make sure we don't lock up and kind of get the heat into the tires. At least I turn up my rear ARB just to kind of get the car to turn more, because the car tends to understeer a lot. But then after that, it's just slowly getting up to the point where you're comfortable enough to change those back to what we originally set them to.
Yeah, that's a lot to learn in just a short amount of time, but you seem to grasp it and get yourself another victory here tonight at Imola, and a good result for the team, as we see Bobby also ended up 4th in this race, so a good run for him as well. But for you, it's another win, chalked in the books, round 6, 2 rounds to go. Anything can happen, but you're putting yourself in a pretty good position. But tonight, with the win, anybody you want to thank or give a shout out to?
Want to thank you guys as always. Want to thank our sponsors, such as I forgot. Wait, Ricmotech.
You got it a couple weeks in a row. We'll give you a pass this time.
I don't have my list this time. I'm going purely off of memory. So,
or you're not.
True. So definitely want to thank Ricmotech for help making this series possible. Want to thank the SCCA Foundation and all that they provide for the series. Want to thank, you guys at Apex Racing. There's one that I'm missing, but I can't remember.
You can throw a butt kicker in there.
Yep, that's the one. Yes, thank you, Butt Kicker. Thank you for all the contributions of the sponsors to the series. Thank you guys for just commentating on these races. It's always fun watching back, seeing what else happens in the race, since I get a very narrow view of what happens in the race. Want to thank friends and family for watching. Want to thank everyone from my team. And congratulate Bobby for how well he's been doing. He's lost a lot of confidence recently, but especially with the new changes, but he's doing great. So I think that's everyone.
All right, well, sounds good, and I won't bother asking how you went off in the last corner, the last lap of our 75-minute race. We'll save that for another day.
Yeah, ignore that.
All right, Bailey Petrowski getting the win for Invictus Temerario Corsa here in GTP. Congrats.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a good night.
You too.
All right, Larry, let's move over now to our GT3 winner for Orion Racing. It's Leo Dragotta.
All right, Leo Dragotta joining us. And Leo, every night it's another tough battle, another teammate thrown at you. Tonight it was Mike Dam giving it all he had to try and make a move. He withstood that, but I tell you, even on that last lap, looks like maybe there was an opportunity there coming down into the Aqua Minerale. How close was Mike to having an advantage on you at that last couple of corners?
I haven't looked yet, but it was pretty close when I was driving. I was fighting incidents, so I wasn't trying to push as much. But yeah, he was quick. We both shared similar times, and it was whoever made mistakes and whoever had to conserve more was going to lose out. But luckily, it's hard to pass here, so...
Not a lot of mistakes. We had a lot of shots at you guys, whether it's the P2 cars coming through, the GTP cars coming through. Neither one of you or Mike seemed to ever break. You guys just seemed to be right on, spot on every single time, because it didn't look like there was any margin for error. You couldn't afford to, because if you make a mistake, Mike was going to pounce. If Mike makes a mistake, you were going to get that advantage. What's that pressure? Do you feel any of that? Or are you just kind of finally maybe getting used to that sort of pressure over a course of a 75-minute race?
You just got to stay concentrated. anything, if you let your mind wander, you're just gonna go a little wide, or you're gonna go a little slow into the turn, and you're gonna lose out. So, especially at this track, like you said. But yeah.
Yeah, well done tonight, putting on another clinic here, another great job for the team, but for you getting another victory. We're going to wait for the points to refresh, but it could turn out to be a pretty good points pull for you here at Imola. But with all that, do you want to give a shout out and want to mention anybody? Want to give any special thanks to?
Yep, Ryan, Huffy, you guys for the broadcast, everybody at the league, parents, Lucas, and my new Hussenveld pedals. Still getting used to them, but really nice.
New pedals. That is the trick. I don't know that anybody else could buy them and be as quick as you. That there's a little something else that you bring to the table for sure. But tonight you showed that something else, got yourself the victory here for Ryan Race Team, Leo Jagoda. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas there. Leo Dragoda, your new points leader in GT3.
Fast guys getting fast, go fast toys just makes them even faster.
Exactly. So 311 points. Mike Dam now moves up to second in the championship, displacing Taj Edwards, who drops to third. And, of course, the odd man out, Akira Iwata, missing his second round in a row, as he now drops from the lead to fifth in the championship. We did have them available for GTP. Not much of a surprise there, as Bailey Petrowski extends his lead on the rest of the field now to 327 points. That puts him 21 up on Ben Rose, with Dave Meneno another 8 points back from there in third. All right, let's move over now, Larry, to LMP2 and Purple Sector Racing's Carson Cushman.
All right, Carson, you came in mid-season. Every week that I've been saying, hey, what's it like to win your first round? Last time it was, hey, you've won 2 in a row. Now you've gone the three-peat, but none of it's easy. The battle that you had with Josh Chinsky looked just awesome. How could you breathe for an hour and 15 minutes, or how intense was that?
No, definitely. I was racing in the mirror the whole time. I didn't have good pace at all on this track. I was very, very, very surprised I got pole. I was the fastest lap I've done by like a good half second somehow. So, and I just got lucky with traffic, and he didn't, and that was the difference. He was faster for sure.
Yeah, that traffic seemed to play a big part, whether it was some of the GTPs coming by, which, you know, they're much faster in the straightaways, but it almost seems the LMP2 cars are, if anything, a little quicker through some of the corners, like a Ravazza and some of the other places. How much knowledge do you have to have of those relationships to be able to be successful in traffic?
Yeah, it's a bit different now. I think LMP2 is actually kind of faster on like Apex, but GTPs take off on exit, so it's some getting used to and trust in the GTPs, that if they're going to put it there, they're going to stay there, not like before where they're going to just go right by you through the turn. So, but yeah, it's just a luck factor. It's a very busy track, so I got lucky.
Yeah, well, it takes a lot of luck or a lot of skill, or maybe a big combination of both to be able to be successful in a track like this, on a night like this. And you showed a lot of that skill. It looked like just a ton of fun. Another one of those nights where I wish I was kind of in the middle of it fighting with you guys, but sitting back and watching was certainly entertaining. You'll definitely want to watch this replay back. But 3 wins in a row now for you. Really starting to put a pretty good run together. The rest of the field knows where the new benchmark is, and it's with Purple Sector Motorsports. So with that win, you want to give a special thanks to anybody?
No, not just thanks to you guys for doing this. We appreciate it.
All right, well, congratulations again. And LMP2 get the win tonight for Purple Sector Motorsports. Carson Cushman. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, there you go, Larry. And in GTP, Josh Chinsky, still your championship leader here, as he picks up second place points. He now has 318 on the season. He's got an 11-point advantage over Caleb Lehman, his SRT Esport teammate. Phantom Power Racing's Trevor Anderson sitting in third, another 13 points back from there. And Carson Cushman, although he's got 3 wins on the season, more than anybody else here in the class, he still is sitting, by nature of not attending 3 races, sitting 8th in the championship. All right, so let's wrap things up here, and we'll get ready to move on to next week. As we mentioned, Larry, next week, the Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge for our GT4 and LMP3 racers, heading to Mount Panorama, heading to Bathurst for 60 minutes. So please make sure to join us then. If you like what you see today, or if you liked what you saw today, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. I haven't seen Stubby say it. Did he say it in the chat? I don't know. But give us that big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to Apex Racing TV, go ahead and do that as well. So for Larry Lefty McLeod, for Jonathan Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you next Monday night.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.